All right. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Let's take a look and let's get started here. All right. So we haven't done a live on Facebook in quite a while, and we're just kind of winging it along. It's Happy Independence Day for everybody who's watching, and if you're watching us in the U.S., it's July 4th, and so a lot of people done a lot of things to help get us here as a country. Being a veteran, that's important to me, and I really do appreciate all the sacrifices that were made to help us get here. So the reason we chose today to talk about to do a live video and to get started again, it's because of the spirit of Independence Day. You know, so one of the reasons you all are here, and one of the reasons that whether you're watching this live on in the Facebook group or if you're watching the replay on YouTube, and if you are, please, I've noticed that only about 10% of people are actually subscribed. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and give us a thumbs up. It helps us out, helps us grow the channel, and gives us incentive to continue to doing videos. But if you're watching on Facebook, look, and you're watching this live, leave a comment below. Let us know, why did you start your business? You know, I'll tell you what some of the more common answers have been, or some of the common reasons when I talk to business owners. They typically tend to say they want freedom. They want the freedom from their 9 to 5. They want the freedom to live their life the way they want. They want the freedom to be able to pursue their interests, to pursue that lifestyle, to have time with their families, to just be happy. Well, that's great. That really is. I think those are fantastic reasons, and you know the 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 whole thing, and that's kind of why what brings me to like I said, Independence Day. What how do you define independence? That's another thing. Leave a comment below and let us know, how are you actually defining Independence Day? All right, how are you defining your freedom, what your freedom will be, what it will look like in your agency? And now, don't get this wrong, this isn't for new agencies only. This is also for very well established agencies. I have a number of clients that have been in business 5, 6, 7, 10 years, and they still are seeking that freedom that they originally started looking for when they opened their business. See, this is where people get things a little confused from time to time. They fail to realize that one of the big reasons, reasons that you're not finding that freedom is because, one, your business is not growing to the point where maybe you can't quit your full-time job quite yet if you're a newer agency, or if you have quit the job, you don't have your systems in place within your agency to help give you that freedom. So what happens is get into this perpetual state of being an owner operator, of that perpetual state of being your own employee, and you become almost like a slave to your business. So you want to move from being that business owner, from being that employee, to actually being an entrepreneur. Go for that semi absentee, go for that full absentee business model, where you're just sitting there and you're managing your business. Your business is not managing you. So, how do we do this? Well, today we're specifically going to talk about what you need to prioritize as far as marketing goes. Home care marketing. How are you prioritizing your activities? Whether you're brand new in the industry, or whether you are well established and have been around for the last 10 years and just can't find that foothold to be able to walk away from your agency. What are we doing? So today we're going to focus on the marketing aspect. All right. So let us know below before we get started. There's a couple of people watching this live. What do you think is the most important activity that you should be doing right now, today, to move your business forward as far as marketing goes? I'll give you guys a moment. And if you're watching us on YouTube, again, just leave a comment below. Let us know, What do you think is the most important activity, the number one thing you need to do before anything else in order to get your business moving in the right direction? All right. So what we will do is, I'll go ahead and answer that. In my opinion, number one thing is you need to know who you're targeting. Okay. Who's your client? Do you really have a good handle on that? You know, um, what do I mean by that? I mean, like, if you ask 10 home care agency owners the same question, the way they're going to answer it. Oh, I think my stream went away. No. All right. So the way that most agency owners, for those of you that are watching, can you give me a thumbs up or something? Let me know if you can hear and see me clearly, if the video's working the way it's supposed to. Anyone? All right. All right. Thank you, Linda. Okay. So, all right. So here it is. So the number one thing is know who you're selling to. If I ask 10 people, hey, what do you think your client is? They're all going to tell you, oh, I cater to the elderly. Okay. Well, it's not never that simple. So let's take a look at what are your basic two principal categories of clients. Client number one is if you are running a agency that depends on some sort of government payer source. That means you are either Medicaid, you're dealing with Department of Developmental Disabilities, you are dealing with VA, maybe some state waiver program. So you're basically relying on the government to provide funding for you to be able to service your clients. That requires certain income guidelines, that requires certain criteria as to where you're going to be able to target these people. And from a demographic perspective, it looks very different from state to state. It looks very different when we're talking about, you know, for example, region to region. So, and it also will look very different if you're focusing on private pay. So now, if we're focusing on the private pay model, now we're looking at it. Now we're looking at a different client base. So that's really our most basic thing. Tip number one. Number one activities: really get to know, understand who that client is. Once you understand who your client is, there's a number of advantages of that. Advantage number one is going to be you're not wasting your time. You're no longer taking a shotgun approach and kind of hoping that where you're going is the right place. Number two, you're also going to be able to better target them when it comes to social media, Google ads. Your campaigns are going to be so much more effective overall. All right, because not only are you going to be able to target them, you'll understand where their kids are. You'll understand, where the next generation is. Like, here's something I was actually going over with a client yesterday on, well, not yesterday, I'm sorry, day before yesterday on Saturday. Um, we were going through because they didn't quite understand where to start marketing, where to start looking for these clients. So one of the things that we will identify is, one, where's your client? You, as a home care agency owner, have to understand that, especially if you're in the private pay space, your client is not that 65-year-old. Like, think about this. How many 65-year-olds do you know personally and directly, indirectly, that you've been around that actually need home care? You're looking at maybe if you're lucky, about 3%. All right. So the bulk of the people actively seeking or in a physical state that they require long-term, transitional assistance, which is home care. All right. It's usually around 73 to 78 years old. That's a big gap. So what does that mean? That means if we're targeting 65-year-olds, especially when we're looking at looking at Facebook ads, Google ads, anything along those lines, or any other media, what you're going to want to do is cater your messaging for future needs, not for immediate need. Because let's think about this. If my client is, or if my target client is 73 to 78 years old, that means their kids, are going to be right around 50. All right. So I'm going to start kind of weaning them into needing that service. So if we have clients that are in their 80s, the odds are their kids are going to be in their late 50s and 60s, creeping towards that 65. So target your messaging properly and don't go for too young just because of that statistic everybody hears. 10,000 people a day turn 65. That's fantastic to know if you're selling Medicare insurance, not fantastic if you're selling private home care. What you want to know is what is the demographic in your communities, the communities that you're targeting, that will specifically have people 72 to 78 years old or older. Okay. That's number one. Once once we've moved on and identified our client, now we have to be able to select the facilities that cater to them. How well do you know your area? Like, again, leave us a comment below. Do you know what hospitals you should be looking at? Do you even look at hospitals when targeting for private pay? So, those of you that have taken classes with me before, you'll all know that I actually go very much in depth on how to select your facilities. All right. And whether you're marketing to a target to a hospital or not, because a lot of agencies, especially newer ones, you're just not there yet. You don't want to go near a hospital right now. They're complex, and if you screw it up, you could end up not being able to get clients from there for a very long time. But you still need to know about the hospital. You need to know what areas does that hospital cater to? You know, quick statistic, if you're in the suburbs, which most people that are looking for private pay live in suburbs or rural areas, meaning you're not living in like midtown Manhattan most of the time. You're going to live more like out in the suburbs. Like let's say if you're in Ohio, you're not living in Cleveland looking for private pay. You're looking more like out by Avon Lake, or if you're down in the Columbus area, you're looking out by Dublin or something like that. Or, you're not directly in Indianapolis, you're looking, out in out by Carmel or something. There's a lot of places. Like you're not going to look in downtown LA, you're going to look in some maybe up by Pasadena or something, depending on where you are. All right. So that's kind of what you want to know. So if you're in the suburbs, you're going to live somewhere between 4.5 and 6.5 miles away from the closest hospital. All right. So that is important to know because where is the hospital that's in the core of your zone, at the core of your territory design, your marketing plan? Where is it in relation to your clients? Is just because there's a hospital close by does not necessarily mean that that's the hospital that's catering to the communities where your clients live. You have to understand the data. And look, I'm a big fan of Home Care Pulse. I'm a big fan of using industry wide data when somebody doesn't know what's going on. But once you've been open and you're operating for more than a few minutes, okay, you have to know your specific data. All right. And if you don't know how to look at it, you're again, and you'll hear me use this a lot over and over. You're going to fall back into the pattern of that shotgun approach. All right. That shotgun approach is it's going to really mess up your business. All right. It's going to prevent you from being able to, actively target to develop a solid, repeatable marketing plan. All right. And if you cannot create that solid and repeatable marketing plan, your activities are going to go by the wayside because there's no structure. All right. Number three, the next thing that you should be prioritizing is prospecting and research. So once we kind of know where the hospital is and where all the facilities are around it, Are you prospecting? Do you know whether that skilled nursing facility is worth going to? Do you know if that, how much you're going to generate out of, by spending a lot of time, money, and effort in marketing to that CCRC or to that assisted living? You know, what is it that you're doing? You know, going out and wasting time. Look, this is a statistic. I've been doing this for a very long time. I did this for a long time in franchising. Data is where I live. Okay. And here's the thing. I've even look, those of you who have been following me for a while, I've even won, awards in leadership in healthcare. I understand data and I understand the importance of your data. And here's what happens. Your average home care agency, brand new, I just opened my doors, will not see their first client if they do it with help. In other words, if you have a coach, your average home care agency will not see their first signed paid private pay client for an average of 4 to 6 months, because people will come in and take that shotgun approach. And before you all eat me alive in the comment section, look, again, if you're on YouTube watching this, please don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. And if you are watching us live on Facebook, look, don't beat me up. All right. Yes, you will have those agencies that are superstars and will do better. You will have those other agencies, that maybe aren't so great and do worse. I'm telling you, in my experience, with people I've come in or I've been asked to help when working with them, average is 4 to 6 months. That is a long time to fund a business without clients. Okay, where if you were to take about 2 weeks to do the research, really sit down, pluck out the data, I'm telling you, I've had clients take, I've given other longer classes that are about 4 weeks before, and I've had clients sign up, my students sign up clients within less than 30 days. I've even had a few be able to take the stuff that we give them and get clients before the class is over, when I was doing the longer version, which I'm going to start doing again. There's some things going on in the business, and we're going to start doing live training again down the road. But for now, listen, you got to do this. Remember, identify your client, select your facilities, prospect, know where you're going. It can reduce your time out in the field, spinning your wheels. It could bring it down from 4 to 6 months all the way down to 30 to 45 days. If you dedicate yourself to it and really get nose to the grindstone, all right, you can potentially get clients in about 2 to 3 weeks. Again, no guarantees. I never guarantee anything. Only thing I can guarantee is that the information I'm telling you has worked for my clients in the past, but depending on the effort they've put forth. Okay. So that's the other thing. So now we've done it. We've prospected. We know exactly where to go. We've done our research. We know who to talk to. As an owner, don't be afraid to market. No one should ever be more interested in your business than you. So, what do I mean by that? Go out there and get your first 5 referral accounts. Do not worry about hiring a marketer. Do not worry about spending money on ads and Facebook and all of this other stuff until you have gone out there, tested by fire, and got 5 facilities giving you a steady flow of referrals. What do I mean by that? I mean that you should have 5 house accounts that are producing 1 referral every 45 days. So that's going to translate into 1 to 2 new clients every month. And you need to do this consistently for 3 months before you even consider hiring a marketer. Okay. That's number 4. So now we've got it all. We have we figured out who our client is. We've selected our target facilities. We have begun to prospect. We're out there marketing. Now, marketing, there's a lot involved in that. And if anyone is actively interested, all right, we actually are holding a class next week, Saturday. All right, let me go over this with you guys. If anyone is interested, here we are. If anyone's interested, we have a home care marketing class. It's no fluff, 1 day, 4 hours. I'm taking out all the nonsense. I've broken this down, and we're going to go through in a lot of detail. And the fifth secret of what you should be doing to prioritize, that one I'm saving for the class. All right. And I'm going to go over all of this with you. And if you just want the ticket where you get the class, you get a 30-minute strategy session, you get, Q&A time, you get the Zone Marketing Digital Planner, that's 350. And if you want the advanced ticket, you also get over a template packet with over 100 templates of policies, procedures, client forms, caregiver forms, hiring packets, everything. And after the fact, you'll have 2 weeks to schedule a one-on-one 90-minute session where I'll help you actually develop your marketing plan. you know um, there's links there's going to be links in the description below, and we will be able to do it. You can go ahead, sign up. It's this coming Saturday. It's live. The people that participate will get the recording. After that, I'm probably not doing another one until sometime in September, like end of August or September. Couple of big announcements for those of you still with me. So we've decided, as my family and I, that we are relocating and we are leaving New Jersey at the end of July, and we are actually we're relocating over to Indianapolis specifically, and our new headquarters is going to be in. Well, right now it's tentatively in Plainfield, and we will be going and setting up actually an in-house training center where we'll be doing a lot more live stuff, a lot more streaming, and we'll be going back on the road and doing on-site trainings for agencies that want to work with us in that level. But that's all coming up. So this is kind of the last chance. It's next Saturday from 11 a.m. Eastern until 2 p.m. Eastern, and it's on a Saturday. I'm trying to make it as convenient for everybody else as possible. All right, so here we are. Um, Anybody have any questions? There's a few of you guys watching. If you got questions, this is your chance. Kind of look at this as a free training, a free open thing. Just write your comments below in the description box, and hold on. And here we are. Drop this in the live chat. Any questions? Anybody want to know, like, what facilities to target? How to get out there? What's the first thing you should do as soon as you open? Go ahead, drop something in the comments below, and we'll be more than happy to answer. I'm gonna because I'm watching this on two screens here, and there's a delay when we go live on Facebook. So by all means, go ahead, drop us a comment. Let us know what you want to know. What do you want us to go over? In the meantime, let me go ahead and give you guys a few things that you should be tracking as you move along, as you come along and get on with your business. Day one, you should be tracking what your revenue by referral is. You should be tracking how many visits you're doing so that you can see what's going on. what is what is your return on your investments for recruitment? So what do I mean by that? Let me go ahead and bring this up. So if you're doing, you should know how much each visit is costing you. Okay. So if you are, for example, going and you're doing a lunch, or you're doing 4 visits a month over into a facility, what's each visit costing? Okay, so let's see here. New comment. All right. So all right. So how long does it normally take to get clients when just opening? All right. So all right. When you just open up and you're going out there and you're just starting to get, um, and you're just starting to get private pay clients. This is specifically for private pay. I'm not talking about Medicaid or anything like that. Medicaid is a different thing, and that's really not my specialty. Um, but when we're talking about private pay, it's really going to depend on how closely you are following some of the more basic steps. So, what do I mean by that? Do you have, number one, are you set up? Like, do you have client packets ready? Like something to sign up. If I were to call you today, can you sign up a client? That's a big one. All right. And it actually trips up people a lot of times. Number two, if I were, um, if you were to walk into a facility, is it the right type of facility? So if you're just brand new, you're trying to do this all on your own, I don't want to, or I cannot afford to hire somebody to walk me through this. I'm doing this by joining groups like this one or watching YouTube videos. Great. On average, it's between 12, basically, it's 12 to 20 weeks. Okay. So it's 4 to 6 months on average. All right. Now, are there exceptions to that? Yes. I have personally worked with people that we've reached $1 million in revenue in about 8.5 months. I have also personally worked with people that haven't been as dedicated to it, and it's taken them about 15 months to get their first client. It's so hit or miss. And let me tell you, before that scares off anybody, the reality is it's 100% going to depend on your effort. There's an old expression that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Okay. And that's what tends to happen. There's a lot of really good advice out there. All right. There's a lot of people that do similar work to what I do that will teach you, can help you. You can come work with me. You can come work with someone else. It doesn't really make a difference. And the problem is that for all the good information that's out there, there is terrible information. Terrible. I mean, I have heard and seen it all. Like, my favorite piece of bad advice is, oh, just grab your flyers and go and introduce yourself everywhere. Yes, it potentially could work. Okay. I'm not going to say it won't. You might get lucky, hit the jackpot, and go do it. But here's the problem with that. If you're going everywhere, you don't know where you're going. It's the blind leading the blind. All right. If you just go out there and be persistent, there's a difference between persistence and being obnoxious. Okay. So here's the other thing. How willing are you to work with everyone else? Okay. This is something I go into a lot of detail about, that your in group. All right. In group it's other people call it power partners, referral group, whatever. It's just something I made up. It's your influencers network. All right. Think about it like back in high school. Who was the little clique of friends you hung out with? This is what you got to create. But they have to be like-minded individuals that can benefit without competing. So, what do I mean by that? I mean, if you are a private pay home care agency, there's nothing wrong with you going and introducing yourself to a wound care agency, introducing yourself to a hospice agency, to a funeral home. Work with these people because you're all trying to get to the same place. You're all trying to get that referral from that social worker, from that director of nursing, from that executive director, from that daycare, from that doctor. You're all trying to work in the same thing. So what happens if you got a solid in group? That influencers networking group is just amazing. You're there, you're with it. All right. What tends to happen? You go, all right, and you go and market. Fantastic. Now you went and you made the introduction. I'm friends with you. We've got business friends. You're friendly, not friends. Okay. I go with you the next time. Now you've got a relationship and you're bringing me along. I'm Mr. Tag Along. And after a while, after 3, 4, 5 visits, you don't have to come with me anymore. Now I can go by myself. And what's going to happen when I go? Someone's going to ask me and say, "Hey, how's Rochelle? Don't you normally come with her?" "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. She's busy off doing something else." But what happened? My presence created a communication or a touch point with that referral partner For you, when you go back, let's say I go on a Tuesday, you go back on Friday. Now they're going to tell you, hey, listen, Julio was here the other day. You guys have been coming together. Oh, what? You guys have parting with? No, no, it's cool. It's just, he's got his business, I got my business, and now we're doing this. And this is how we're going to expand. So if you do this with the right group, let's say you have the right team with you, you've got about 4 people in your in group. So that's you plus 4 others. What does this mean? This means that if each of us individually, after we've built with this referral partner, go every day, that's 5 days a week, one for each of us, all right? Over time, well, that means we've actually created 25 touch points. Okay? You're going 5 days a week. Every time you go, they're bringing to mind the other 4 in the group. When I go, we're bringing to mind the other ones in the group. Okay? And all of this kind of builds on each other. So these are little tips and tactics and things that are going to help you get there faster. But without knowledge, understanding of marketing, without some sort of understanding, and it's not just as simple as showing up and saying, hey, I'm Julio, I'm here, so give me clients. They're going to be like, who the hell are you? All right. Nobody's really gonna be able to kind of want to work with you. So it's knowing what to say, knowing how to say it, knowing how to approach. Like, how do you come up with stuff for the for the social workers, things like that. All right. So it really depends. That's a difficult question. Short version is, if you're putting in average amount of work without any direction, you should accidentally trip over a client somewhere between 4 and 6 months. Okay. With exceptions, obviously, and I know I'm gonna get hammered, especially on the YouTube replay for this. No, but I did it and I got my client on the first time out. Yeah, it's what it is. You can. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying uh, averages. Okay, you can get it sooner. You can take longer, but the average is about 4 to 6 months. Okay, it all depends on effort and directions. All right. Any other questions? Anybody else have anything they want me to go over? Just drop a comment, let us know. And even if you're watching the replay of this, on our YouTube channel or even on here, just drop the comment below, and I'll see it and I will do another video as a follow-up to answer questions. Anything else? Anything else? All right. So if there's nothing, oh, here we are. What facilities are best to market to? All right. So that is really going to depend. This is really going to depend what your specialty is, okay, and how well prepared you are. Okay. So what do I mean by that? I mean that if you are a just general operator, meaning you'll take any client, whatever one, because you're just trying to get your book of business up. Low hanging fruit is going to be your independent livings and your assisted livings. That's going to be your easiest to initially access. What do I mean by that? Okay. There's a certain amount of resistance that's going to happen in each type of facility. Okay. So, if, let's say, for argument's sake, I wanted to go to a hospital, well, pre COVID, it used to take an average of 6 to 10 months to get into the hospital, like to really find a way to get into the hospital if you had no clients. Because if you don't have clients, your clients are not interning, so they're not being admitted, so it becomes harder. Um, so the skilled nursing facilities used to be top dog for a while, and they still are. There's just the techniques of how to get in are different because COVID changed a lot of the landscape of how much access we have to certain types of facilities. So if I was a newer facility, I would start actually a newer agency. I'm sorry. I would start by one, going to industry specific marketing events. Okay, industry specific. What does that mean? That means that if you are going to look for networking groups like BNI, If you're going to go to look for, networking groups on like Eventbrite or Meetup or something like one of those apps, you got to find something that is specific to your industry. Go to a facility, go to these facilities, reach out, get on their email list. They host events all the times. Find these CEUs, find reasons to go and meet these people. Now, what does the pro to that is that you get to find people during these networking events outside of their restrictive environment, meaning they're more open, it's less about work, you have a higher likelihood of talking to them without a thousand interruptions. All right, so the downside of that is that you're eliminating the comfort level that you might have, because a lot of people, when you're talking about these networking events, they typically tend to be early morning or after work, all right, or towards the end of the day, and they can interrupt whatever personal life I believe that work life balance is a myth, but that's a whole nother issue. But it can interrupt whatever flow you have of your normal routine in the day because it's outside of normal operating hours. That's the up and the down to it. The other downside to it is typically any networking event in your local community, you will have met everybody that you could potentially meet in about 3 months. So that's one thing. The next thing is, if we're talking about best as in highest likelihood to be beneficial to you, hospice, wound care, okay, and home health. Anything that has field employees just like you do, that will create an opportunity for you to not only get clients directly from them, but will also allow you to expand your reach into the top tier facilities. Your top tier facilities are always going to be hospitals and skilled nursing facilities, especially the skilled nursing facilities that are more of a hospital setting versus a cottage setting. Hospital settings are your short term, post acute, inpatient rehabs, meaning that you have people that are going to follow the CMS average of about 26, 28 days with a maximum of about 100 days. All right. So that's really the way I would say, if you're really new, trying to figure it out, networking events, all right, would probably be one of the first things you should be doing. Number two, if you're going out to actually build relationships, work with hospice, work with um, wound care facilities. There's a specific way to do it. I actually go into a lot of detail on that in the class on how to build the influencers network and how to get that first few sets of referrals. But if you reach out to them, those have your best opportunities. All right. Just I will say this much about it. No matter what you're doing, your messaging is going to be important, and your messaging has to be adaptable to who you're talking to your audience. I always ask yourself, there's an acronym I use. I remember you have to communicate your idea, identify a problem, describe a solution, exemplify why you're the best person to provide that solution, and allow for action. So you got to make sure that people know what to do next after you talk to them. All right. Any other questions? Anything else? All right. So we've been at this about 40 minutes. I have about 7 more minutes allotted for this. If anyone has any other questions, be more than happy to answer them. I think we got time for maybe two more. Anyone? All right. All right. I think unless something else pops up, I think we're pretty much done. Thank you all so much for joining us. Please, if you're watching us, leave a thumbs up on the. Oh, here we are. Direct mailers. Direct mailers are not good for. Well, all right. I'm assuming you're talking about postcards. Okay, that's what I'm like. Postcards are those coupon envelopes. All right. So here's the statistics behind it. An email marketing campaign will have an average of 15 to 18% open rate. All right, and will produce a return of roughly 3%, 5%, with your click-through rate. Mailers like postcards. I do not ever recommend a standard postcard. I recommend, something that's like bigger than a standard postcard if you're going to do it. All right. And, that is the bigger postcard, the big goofy ones, they have a higher return rate, usually closer to 28 to 32%. So if you're mailing those, if you're going to invest in any direct mailing, I would say big postcards over small postcards. And if you're looking to blanket a community, it's like we talked about in the very beginning. The first thing you have to understand is the demographics of who you're trying to target. And then you want to build a plan around that. So this way you're not wasting money unnecessarily. One to two zip codes tend to cost somewhere about $600. All right, for those bigger postcards to mail them out. So, that's $600 that could be very useful to you, or it's $600 that could be an utter waste of $600 to you if you don't do it right. So, yeah, potentially that would be it. Now, on the flip side of that, yeah, if you're talking about like mailing things, physically mailing things to like a social worker or director of nursing or somebody to get that initial meeting, yes, that can potentially be good to create that initial conversation or as a follow-up conversation. Again, where they're not the most cost-effective things, and it's really going to depend on your budget, but they can be very effective if done right. So, for example, if I was going to do an envelope mailing to, let's say, to try to get a meeting with a social worker, I would do the research, make sure, prospect the facility, make sure that really is the type of place I want to target. Do they have the right amount of discharges for me? Can they produce the income I'm looking for? Do they cater to my target client? Do they service the neighborhoods that I'm trying to target? That and a whole bunch of other stuff that I go into when it comes to prospecting. I have a pretty elaborate formula on how to do all of that. But when you're looking at this stuff and you're moving on with it, what you need to make sure that you're doing is, one, if you're going to target the social worker, for example, to get a meeting, use branding to your advantage. All right. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if let's say your colors, your like let's say my company colors are green, gray, and black. I'm going to specifically look for like a green envelope, all right, like a large letter size green envelope. And in that envelope, I'm going to put some information about my company. I'm going to put something with like a QR code that's for them to schedule a meeting with me. And then I'm going to throw something into that envelope that's going to grab their attention. A pen, some pieces of hard candy, all right, stuff that's not going to go bad. All right, maybe a post-it note block, something like that. Why? Because, and I hate to use this terminology because the person that I first heard use it, I don't get along with them too much, but it's called the lumpy envelope theory. So like think about this. If I were to mail you to your home or to your office, all right, if I were to mail to your home or to your office a an envelope, and in the envelope it has, you know um something in there that makes the plane of the envelope out of whack, you have a higher likelihood of opening it. If it's got a bright color, something that's really attention grabbing, not your standard white or yellow envelope, or manila envelope, at that point it's going to grab your attention. You're going to the curiosity. We are curious animals by nature. All right. So our curiosity is going to drive us to open that envelope. So direct mailers, are they good? When done properly, it's very good. When targeted properly, it's very good. And here I have a very simple theory on any marketing plan, any scheme that you might have, even if it is the one that I think is probably the worst, which is just grab a bunch of flyers and randomly go to your neighborhood. All right. You know, there's, I think, a postcard campaign. door to door is more effective than grabbing flyers and just walking into random flyers and business cards and walking into random facilities. But the like even if it's those, which are probably the bottom of the list of things, I say try it. Anything that can potentially work within, but it's a matter of knowing when to give up. See, there's a theory. You don't always necessarily need to win. What you need to do is learn how to fail quickly. If you track results from day one and move along, you'll be able to understand what's working and what's not. A good campaign, it doesn't matter if you're hiring a marketing company to do your Google ads or to do your Facebook ads or now TikTok is becoming a thing. Wherever you're posting these ads, you need to try it for about 90 days. That's the only way you're going to get a measurable result. All right. And if you're not willing to do that, then then that just means you're not funded enough to do it. And try something a little lower on the cost in order to get a better result. So the short answer is direct mailer good. Yes. The long answer, I just probably spent the last 10 minutes going over it. All right. So I just posted in the comments section into if you're watching this live in the Facebook group, I just posted the link to the home care marketing class. All right. Here it is. All right, just it's no fluff and all of this other good stuff. Understand? Basic tickets are 350, and the advanced ticket is 600. But you get a lot more value. Believe me, you're going to get a lot more value from the from these tickets. Even the basic ticket is a tremendous value. All right, at this point, so go ahead, take a look, sign up. We look forward to seeing you guys there. If you're still watching this on the YouTube replay, if you're still around, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. And if you are watching this on the replay on the Facebook group after we're finished, leave a comment with your questions. Let us know what it is you want to know about. This will let me know when we do these lives what to talk about, what's going to be most valuable to you, and what's going to help you grow your business faster. All right. Thank you all for participating. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate this. Um, it's very sporadic, and I know I have been a little bit absent from the group as much. I wish I was a little more active in this, but I've been, moving a company, moving a family across the country. It's a big endeavor, and we are hoping to get everything back on our regular schedule of weekly lives, weekly, regular postings, everything else, and helping you guys. Just bear with me, have a little patience. Let me get through the move. A couple of more weeks, and we will be back on track. But I will make an effort to do these a little more often. Thank you again. You guys have a great rest of your day and enjoy your week, and happy 4th of July.